Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle, and today I want to share with you how this book changed the way I teach my kids, but also some of my parenting tactics too. And that might seem weird coming from a math book, but there's one large concept in here that I think needs to be talked about because it really is important. So this book talks about there's two different types of mindsets for everybody, not just children. There's a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. So when you have a fixed mindset, you believe yourself to be either smart or dumb, that there's people good at math and there's people bad at math. And this can be for all different subjects, not just math. But I'm going to use math as my example here. So you believe you're either good at it or bad at it. And that can come from a variety of different reasons. Either, teachers told you that. I myself was told in school, math was just not my strong point. And that became my inner monologue that I wasn't good at math. I was a person that struggled with math. And the feedback I was given is that that's just who I am. I'm just not a person that's naturally gifted in math. And what I really like about this book is it points out that 95% of the time, no one is gifted in math. There's no such thing as a gifted child in math. We all have this same potential to unlock any math concepts we want. We can all reach the highest level of math. It just depends on how we're taught and those messages we receive along the way. And if we have those growth mindset or the fixed mindset. So again, the growth mindset is you think you can achieve things. So if you're faced with a problem, you don't stop and think, oh, well, I'm not good at math. You see a problem and you may get it wrong, but you don't fear that failure like a fixed mindset does. A fixed mindset sees that problem. If I fail, then that just means I'm dumb. A growth mindset sees getting a problem wrong or failure as an opportunity to learn. And that's so important, especially in the United States. I think it's we work on a reward system, especially in the public school setting, where you're constantly reminded how many you got right, and you get a sticker if you get this. My daughter in public school would get a piece of candy from her teacher if she got a problem right. These ideas that you're only worthy if you get an answer right. And the thing about that is that the book points out is your brain actually grows when you make a mistake. It doesn't grow if you already know the information, because let's face it, if you take a test and you get everything right, it means you already know everything. You're not being challenged. So when you get a problem wrong, say a math problem, you get it wrong, your brain literally grows. You fire off new synapses in your brain and you get another little wrinkle. So what I really like in the book is the author gives a suggestion that you take a piece of paper and it can actually be a math paper or something your child got wrong, and you have them crumple that paper off, whatever problem they got wrong, and crumple it off and crumple it up and throw it. And they throw it and then they pick it up, and when they pick it up, it'll have all these little lines. So you have them take a marker and then they trace those lines. And these lines represent everything their brain has learned. It literally has grown from those mistakes. Your brain doesn't grow from getting it right. Your brain grows from these mistakes. And that's amazing. So I've managed to change my children's perspective on this. And I did. I talked to them about this book. I went through, there's some pictures in here that I think are helpful. I talked to them about how our brains literally grow from learning, or not from learning, from making mistakes, from not knowing something. And especially for my 8-year-old who is a perfectionist, she wants to get everything right the first time. And that's just not how things work. So to show her this, that when you get something wrong, it's not a failure, it's an opportunity to learn, completely changed her. She used to dread math, and she had gotten those messages that she just wasn't good at math. And some of that was from the public school, yes, but some of that came from me too. The author says in the book, saying things like, when I was younger, I wasn't good at math either. that's telling your child that there's people good at it and there's people bad at it. And that's not true, because we all have the same potential. So not even knowing it, I was giving her that message too. So that's why I think it's so important to talk about these concepts. Another thing that the author brings up is that what math really is. And I think this is something that is completely missed in the public school system. The idea that math is about looking for patterns, and it even goes in the book talking about how you can see different patterns in nature. And again, I showed this to my kids, and I pointed out, I asked them first, what is math, specifically my 8-year-old? And she said it's a bunch of equations and I'm not very good at it. That was her answer. And I pointed out to both of them that math is in nature. Patterns, that's what we're looking for. We use those equations and those numbers to prove those patterns. And that's some higher level math, which is funny because when I talked to my husband about this, who did achieve higher level math in high school and college, he was surprised that with the lower elementary, they're not taught conceptual math. It's just, there's no number sense. They're taught 2 + 2. They're taught math facts, basically. Memorization of math facts. So 2 + 2 is 4. But they're not taught what that means. There's no meaning behind it. They can rattle off their multiplication, division, addition, subtraction facts, but they have no idea what it is. And that's a problem. And that's a problem my daughter was having with her public school education, is that she would struggle because often you're given the perfect example in the book or whatever the teacher is teaching you. You get the perfect example of the concept they're trying to teach you. And then the teacher demonstrates it, and then you get a whole list of examples you have to do yourself, which aren't the perfect example. So the child can't really get it. They don't understand what they're doing because they have no conception thinking behind it. They have no number sense. So my daughter's going into 3rd grade this year. I had to back it up and teach her some basic number sense of how, okay, so 2 + 2 is 4, but what does that mean? And simple math facts like 5 + 7. What does that mean? Let's break it down visually. And again, kids learn different ways, so knowing that. And I understand public school doesn't have necessarily the time to really dig deep and get these kids to understand. But we're missing a key point here if we skip over it. One other thing that was really discussed in the book, and this is there's a lot of facts in here and graphs and research, which I love. I'm a big nonfiction reader. That's actually my genre of choice. I prefer nonfiction. I enjoy that kind of reading. So be mindful if you get that book. There's a lot of research and things and graphs like that. But one of the things the author also touches on is that math is a discussion-based program. That's how it should be taught. Getting kids in a group together, talking about the problem, different ways they can solve it, because there are different ways of coming at math. There are different ways to get an answer. And often in the public school setting, they're taught that one way to get an answer, and that's the only way. I know my daughter had problems with this in the public school because sometimes she would come to her answer in a different way than the teacher did. And her answer was correct, but the teacher would tell her it was wrong because she didn't use the specific concept they were using. That's not how math works. So I really like this idea that it's discussion-based, that you talk it through, you rotate ideas around, you see how other people are seeing it. And that's why I have issues with programs like, online programs like, what is the pipeline? Teaching textbooks. There's no room for discussion there. There's no conceptual thinking. There's nothing there. It's just a computer telling you, or a lesson, a video lesson, whatever it is, telling you what the lesson is, and then you do the examples. There's no one to discuss it with. And I think we're really missing out when we do that. So as of now, we have this paper hanging up when we do school. And when my kids get something wrong, they now say, oh, my brain just grew. And we've changed that mindset that they no longer fear mistakes. They see it as opportunities to learn, which will be amazing in so many aspects of their life. So I hope this helps you out. And again, check this book out if you're interested. I highly recommend it. Thanks for watching.